Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving straight into the high-stakes world of retail investing. Look, if you're managing your own money, you already know the game has completely changed. So we're going to break down the new risks, the new rules, and the tech that can literally be your algorithmic armor. And if you're a self-directed trader, you are definitely not imagining the pressure. It is very, very real. I mean, investor anxiety is through the roof. Just look at the top concerns here. A massive 71% of people are worried about cybersecurity, and another 60% are worried about scams. These aren't just normal market jitters. This is a deep fear about the safety of the entire system. And honestly, those fears are completely justified. The numbers here are just staggering. In the first 6 months of this year alone, almost $1 billion, that's 939 million, was lost just to crypto scams. That shows you we're dealing with a landscape full of financial landmines that go way beyond just market ups and downs. But you know what? It's not just the scammers you have to worry about anymore. There's a tidal wave of new rules and regulations that's creating a perfect storm. And it's changing the game for every single investor out there. Here in the US, the big financial watchdogs, we're talking the SEC and FINRA, they are seriously ramping up enforcement. They are looking closer than they ever have before at how digital assets are being reported. So the old way of doing things, that's not going to cut it anymore. And this is not just an American thing. If you look across the Atlantic, the European Union just rolled out this massive piece of regulation called MiCA, and it is enforcing some incredibly tough new rules for any company that's operating in the crypto space. Even the big banks are feeling the heat. The FDIC is putting all of these bank fintech partnerships under a microscope, and they're demanding much, much stronger oversight. And you can bet that pressure flows all the way down to the apps and the platforms that we're all using every day. So you might be asking, why this huge global crackdown all of a sudden? Well, it's a direct response to a massive outcry from investors just like you. Complaints to the FBI about things like pump and dump schemes have skyrocketed, up over 300%. Regulators are seeing these numbers, and they know they have to do something. So the big question is, how on earth is an everyday trader supposed to keep up with all of this? This whole web of complex rules and scams, it really calls for a whole new way of thinking, one that moves us away from just reacting in fear and towards operating with proactive confidence. Well, luckily, there's an entire category of technology that's been designed to solve this exact problem. It's basically built to be your co-pilot, helping you navigate this whole new reality with some really powerful tools. It's called RegTech, short for regulatory technology. And the best way to think about it is like algorithmic armor for your portfolio. It uses things like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and some pretty slick automation to help you manage and comply with all these crazy rules, so you don't have to do it all by yourself. And listen, this isn't some fringe idea. This is the new industry standard. Gartner actually found that 60% of professional compliance officers are investing in AI right now. And their goal is to completely flip the script, to go from reacting to audits after the fact to proactively monitoring everything in real time. It's all about being compliant before an auditor even thinks about knocking on your door. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but what does this stuff actually look like when you use it? Let's get really practical here and look at 3 standout tools that show what this technology can actually do to protect you and your portfolio right now. First up, we've got a tool called TradeLog. Now, this one specializes in probably one of the most frustrating and complex parts of tax compliance for any active trader, the wash sale rule. That's where you sell something at a loss and then buy it back within 30 days. It's such a common mistake, but it can have huge tax consequences. And this is what's so cool about it. TradeLog takes what used to be a total manual nightmare and turns it into this simple, automated process. First, it just syncs up with all your broker data. Then, its AI gets to work, scanning for any potential wash sales across all of your accounts. It'll even connect your IRA and your taxable accounts. And then, boom, it generates an audit-ready Form 8949. It turns what could be weeks of accounting into just a few minutes of work. All right, next up is GainsKeeper. This one's from Thomson Reuters, and it's a much more powerful, kind of enterprise-grade tool. It's really designed for those high-volume traders or anyone who needs to automate really complex tax strategies, like a mark-to-market election. And this is where things start to feel like the future. GainsKeeper uses machine learning models to do more than just report what happened. It actually forecasts potential compliance risks in your portfolio before they become problems. It'll automate your tax selections, and then its anomaly detection engine is constantly looking for trouble spots. And if you need to report, it compiles a completely tamper-proof audit bundle. This is true proactive audit defense. And finally, for all the crypto traders out there, we've got coin tracking. This platform was built from the ground up to deal with well, let's call it the unique and often chaotic world of blockchain transactions. And this process just shows you how powerful it is. It syncs with all your wallets, all your exchanges, and then it literally creates a complete map that traces the lineage of every single coin you've ever touched. It automatically flags things like unreported airdrops or coin forks, which, by the way, are huge red flags for regulators and are tied to a massive number of scams. Then it generates your IRS-ready forms with the blockchain proofs to back it all up. So let's quickly break down how they stack up. You can think of TradeLog as the accessible workhorse for stocks. GainsKeeper is the machine learning powerhouse. It even connects via the FIX protocol, which is the language banks use to talk to each other. And coin tracking is the crypto specialist, using a graph database that's purpose-built to map complex blockchain relationships. So the right tool really just depends on what's in your portfolio. So after all that, what's the big takeaway here? What is the one thing you really need to understand about this new world we're in? It's this. Being ready for an audit isn't just a defensive chore anymore. It's a strategic advantage. The reality is, the world has changed for every investor. Regulations are tighter than ever, scams are way more sophisticated, and trying to keep up with it all manually is, well, it's pretty much impossible. RegTech isn't a luxury anymore, it's a necessary automated defense system. And it gives you a huge advantage by freeing up your brainpower to focus on making smart trades, not drowning in paperwork, all while protecting you from those catastrophic fines that could just wipe out all your gains. And this quote just says it all perfectly. In this new era, the smartest investors, they don't treat compliance like some chore they have to clean up at the end of the year. No, they engineer it directly into their trading strategy right from the very beginning. It just becomes part of the machine. And that really leaves us with one critical question that every single self-directed trader needs to ask themselves right now. Is your portfolio truly engineered to handle the pressures of this new audit era? Because just hoping for the best, that's no longer a strategy. Thanks for watching.